Probably give another couple of minutes to let people join and then we'll jump into it. Since this is a little bit of an impromptu town hall, I just felt that with the start of a new quarter, might as well kind of reflect on what we've been doing for the past three quarters. This is going to be more about what we've got going on in the background than it is about like talking about units opened and things like that. This is more just to give everybody a chance to see what we have been doing in the office day to day to get ready for the convention, which is more of a celebration of all the things that we've achieved as a system since we started. So um, um, my internet has been going in and out a little bit because of the weather, but hopefully it'll be clear enough to get through this. All right, we just had a couple more folks join. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room to make sure we don't miss anybody. We can go ahead and jump into it. I don't want to take up a lot of time because it's really not as formal as I think some folks think the town hall should be. I'd actually like to start doing them more frequently rather than a couple times a year. So some of the things that we've got going on, obviously on the corporate side, we've been really pounding uh, the deal flow right now to try to get as many people into our doors as possible. I've talked about it a bunch in Slack. I've talked about it inside conversations with some of you guys that there's just a sentiment right now. You can see it on social media. You can see it in the news. You can see it with the way that Google algorithm is responding to the things that people are searching for, that people are just really sick of, especially those people who have, first time full synthetic oil changes. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this in your own shops, that the sticker shock that some people are getting. And this has been going on for a little while, but it just seems to be at the forefront at the moment. And it has been a cause for us to be able to grab more market share because when we do step away from the discounts, which ultimately is the end goal, we will still be less expensive than our peers, at least on the corporate level. Obviously, we do not control pricing at the franchisor level like other systems do, but we do feel that, pricing below Jiffy Lube and Valvoline and Take 5 does give us an advantage once prices do normalize. We had a comment come in on one of the pages. We posted the special for October last night, and someone said, "Oh, I just paid full price yesterday, but I'm actually not even mad because I always get the best service at you guys." And so that's the kind of comments and the kind of service that we're looking to provide, so that when we are doing this massive land grab of customers, that they stick. Because at the end of the day, if you run all these new customers through your doors and the people inside your doors are not providing the service that differentiates us from everyone else, then it's not going to be an effective form of customer acquisition. The other thing that we have been working on in the background is a lot more localized SEO and a lot more generalized SEO. So there's basically two ways to take a stab at SEO, and it's macro on a broad topic like oil change, and then it's local, like specific to the street that your store is on. I don't want, I'm going to say this once and then I want to move on, but it's really hard to overstate the damage that Hawkeye did to not only, our website, but the system as a whole. And we're still trying to work our way out of that with all of the content that I had built up for, 6 years, or longer actually at that point. And it was all gone with the new website, and it just set the website back massively in terms of the SEO that we had, the backlinks that we had, the unique content that we had. So I have now found a little bit more time to put into doing these articles. They're in the blog section of the website, and these articles can be reposted on Facebook. The more places that they are posted, whether it's Facebook pages, social media, the higher the SEO ranking it does for the articles. I'm tailoring them very specifically to trending topics to try to help with that. And so that's something that we're doing on nearly a daily basis right now. Another feature that we added to the website is the live chat box, which actually you can see on the bottom of this screen on the website. There's the little Hermes head that has the headphones on it with the microphone. So this is a live chat box, and it's either me or Deb. And to be perfectly honest, right now it's mostly Deb while I've been doing some of the other stuff, as you can see from this screenshot. But we are able to respond to any customer that comes on and has a live conversation. And so we are responding to these people. We are directing them to your either your store, whether it's a phone call or if it's a question that we can answer directly on your behalf so that you don't have to. This has been a really nice feature added to the website. As before, the chatbot was more of a AI tool that really would get stuck because we're in a pretty niche space and there's just not enough learning material that is specific to Quick Lubes. And so when, as AI evolves and there is more niche material added to the learning languages, the chatbots will become more closer to humans. But for the time being, this live chatbot that features either me or Deb or someone in the office to respond to people in real time is a really nice feature that we've added. The other thing that I spend a good chunk of my time on is the metal buildings project. So I don't know if Kyle McCardle is on here or not. I didn't see his name, but Kyle spearheaded basically a building program that we had wanted to do for a long time. That and I take full responsibility for this. This is not I don't want this to sound like an excuse or a cop out, but Peter Colvin basically took the original concept and turned it into closer to a more normal development platform with a very expensive building that ultimately is still less expensive than our peers. But this metal building project could cut the cost to a fraction of even that. Kyle successfully built his store that is opening this Friday. And I should have added pictures of his site, but we have two buildings simultaneously going up, one in Lorain, Ohio, one in Warren, Ohio. We're testing two different metal building providers, and the cost of the building itself has come in under $30,000 each time, the physical building itself. And then it just comes down to the site development and then adhering to code. And so our Warren, Ohio site is really going to be the test pilot for it because they've basically given us the green light to do however we feel is the best way to get the business up. And it's going to include, basically what we think the bare minimal version of this is going to be. And once we have that replicatable with the steel building company, then it comes down to, and they actually install the building themselves. It just comes down to the actual the foundation, the pit, and whatever site development is required by the town. And so we're going to try to move back to a world where we're trying to rent space or buy cheap space so that we can get these buildings up and ultimately have one provider of the building without all of the other, kickbacks on every aspect of the building that was kind of happening under Peter Colvin's regime with the kickbacks on the garage doors, the windows, the building itself, the pits, and it just inflated the cost way beyond our control. And we've been able to kind of get out of that, which has been nice to see. The other thing that we're going to announce on this town hall is Costa Oil Go. This is something that with our franchise attorney, Brad Shipe, about as an offering to our existing franchise base, whether we needed to do a whole new FDD or if this was something that we could offer without having to issue a brand new FDD. And it's essentially, I 100% still do not believe in the mobile oil change business. It's just not, as a standalone business, something that has ever worked. There have been 3 mobile oil change franchise brands that have popped up since we started franchising. And of those 3, only one of them is still actually franchises. Costa Oil Go would be mobile oil changes, tires, and brakes. We put more rather than brakes because we don't need to be that specific. But this is a concept that we're working with a couple of franchisees with to launch. A couple of our franchisees have already had some experience in the mobile space, not in automotive, but in food services. So this is not something we're ready to launch to everyone. It's just something I wanted to mention in passing. So as we get more information and as we build out this infrastructure and launch the first one, anyone who is interested in doing it as an attachment to their brick and mortar store may go into it and get some more information. I'm going to hand things off to Deb to talk about high level. Real time I'm going to mention his name. Hawkeye was using high level as a private label, a white label product. And all that means is we're using the exact same software that Hawkeye was using, except for now we directly control it. We're also on the hook for the expenses related to it, but it's much better to actually deal directly with high level. And I know a lot of you have already gotten into the weeds with it. I feel like we did a pretty good transition. There wasn't a lot of downtime, but I'm going to hand things off to Deb to talk about it.
Hey everybody. So yes, we did have a good transition for the most part, Las Vegas notwithstanding. So we are using now high level. You'll hear it referred to as high level or go high level, either one, it's the same. It is the same platform as Costa said that Hawkeye was using, but now we have better service, and I can say that confidently because myself and Brandon are the ones providing service. So just wanted to run through real quick in case you haven't jumped on there and seen what it's all about, or in case you've played with some sections or seen some sections but haven't gotten the whole gist of it. So basically high level is one of those softwares that just has so much in it, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it all, and we haven't even really used all of it. Some of it that's in there doesn't really apply to our locations, but it just comes with the package. So just walk through real quick. So first thing that I want to say is that you have your own location specific website. So in addition to the location, the listing on the corporate site, you actually have your own website for each location. And yeah, Brian, that's your place. I always use that as an example because I just love that photo. So your own website, as you can see, has a homepage, specials with coupons, about us, careers. There's a place for a blog if you want it, FAQs, and contact. So everyone has pretty much the same website, and when these were rolled out, we haven't done a lot to update them. Hopefully that's something we can get into a little bit more next year. I'd like to see the about sections and the FAQs kind of really be fleshed out, help that local SEO, and also help drive business to your location. So basically the what you're getting right now for the website though, which is part of the high level system, you're getting your location specific contact information is out there. You have a contact form. There is a chat form on there, and you also have your location specific specials and coupons that you can update. They come out with default coupons, but you can change those, and then also your hours, which is the question everybody always wants to know. And then, like I said, you can we can customize that blog, the FAQs, the about section can be tailored to your location, which again, hopefully we'll all have time to get more into in a little bit. Next slide, please. So in addition to the website, High Level gives you a great way to stay in touch with your customers and potential customers. You have a centralized inbox where it brings in those web chat conversations. It can bring in, it brings in emails, Facebook messages, and you can access this either on your High Level, logging into High Level on your computer, or there's also a mobile app. So if that sounds like something you don't know about and you want to be on top of, let me know, because we can get you set up with the mobile app, which is free, and make sure you're staying on top of those conversations. Phone calls, this one's a little tricky because it does have the ability to send an automation, which I believe is actually working for many of the sites. So when the phone isn't answered at your store, it will send an automatic message, text to the person if it's a mobile number, asking, how you can help, how you can help. You can also record calls, track calls and record calls, so you can see what calls are missed. You can set up recording, so you can listen to those calls for quality assurance. It gets a little involved. I don't want to get into on this platform, but as far as your actual store phone number versus the system phone number, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how all of that works, and Brandon as well. And then the other thing is, we've been doing a lot of work on this since the transition from Hawkeye. So if you've heard from Brandon that he needs your Square login, if you haven't done that yet, please make time to get with him on that. So we can start importing your customer data that's in Square, import that directly to High Level. And then that gives you options to contact people directly, and especially to send them automated messages related to review requests and also service reminders, which brings me to the next slide. So one of the great things about High Level is these automated text reminders and messages. Once we get that Square integration working so that your customer data is coming in to High Level automatically, there are two main automations we've been working with everybody on. One is to send out a request after somebody comes in and asks them for a review. It links directly to your Google review pop-up. So that, I believe, is something that it's optional. Of course, all this stuff is optional besides the website, but if that's something you want to do, it will probably increase your Google reviews for sure. The other one we've been working with people on that wasn't really getting any traction under Hawkeye, but I think we have a good grip on it now, is service reminders. So you can set up a reminder that sends somebody a text about 90 days after they came in and ask them, remind them that it's time for another oil change and send them a deal. And I know there are other automations also that you can do. I know that Ralph has set up quite a few, so we can get into other automations as well, but those are the two we've been focusing on. And you can also set up to respond to reviews on your behalf, which is something that we all should be doing. Even good reviews you should respond to. I know a lot of you do a good job of doing that manually yourself, but that is an option if you want to at least have an AI response to your good reviews. I wouldn't recommend it for negative reviews. And you can also, again, you can see inside of High Level, as well as you can see your Facebook direct messages. You can also see your Google reviews and respond there. So the idea is to make it more centralized. In some cases, I don't know if that's easier than actually just going to Google or Facebook, but you could try it and see if you like it. Next slide, and we'll get to questions here at the end. The other things that we're not really taking a lot of advantage of, you can actually schedule your social media posts through High Level. I think most of us just use Facebook, and so you can do that directly on Facebook as well. But you can actually do posts to Google, to your Google business profile, and that's something you can do both of those from High Level if that's helpful for you. You can also do email marketing. We've done that on the corporate side, send out some newsletters with blog posts. You could send out marketing emails. So something, again, to think about perhaps for next year or during the slow season coming up, get a cadence for that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is forms. So in addition to the contact form, let's say that's on your website, you can also set up additional forms. So you might want to send a survey to customers. You might be at an event and want to collect customer information. Now there are other websites that can help you do that as well, but that's also something you can do inside of High Level. I can help you, or we can help you set up those forms, and then that will add those that information and that potential customer info directly to your High Level database. Okay, let me look at the questions here.
One thing I want to add on real quick, because I just got done with our Facebook post for October, is Meta obviously the Meta Business Suite and the professional dashboard for the last like 9 months has been pretty terrible. And they've been listening to some of the concerns, and they're starting to slowly but surely fix a lot of the concerns. And so it's a lot less clunky now, the switching between profiles and everything. One thing I found today, which is going to be a huge help for us on the corporate side, since we get over 1,000 messages and interactions a day now with the ad that we're running, is you can have automatic hiding features. So if a specific word is mentioned, so the first one that I did across the board is if someone comments scam, the comment automatically gets hidden. And what that does, it allows you to message the person and be like, I understand why you might think this. It's not a scam. Here's why it's not a scam, blah, 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 blah. But when you're not able to, most of those comments happen while people are like laying in bed at night and have nothing else to do, nothing better to do, and they're in a bad mood and they're negative and they want to post that. And so a lot of us don't see that until the next morning. And so rather than have it be exposed to all the people who are viewing your ad, it can get automatically hidden. So that's one nice feature that Facebook has made a lot more accessible. And there's a lot more automations on the Meta Business Suite. So that's a piggyback I wanted to do onto everything that Deb was talking about. But we certainly can go to Q&A on anything website related. If anyone wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself.
I see a question from Brian for getting the automations done. You just need to schedule time with Brandon, or basically he needs your login, and then he needs you to be available to send him a code for Square. And that's so that he can link Square to an interface called Zapier, and then Zapier transfers the data between Square and High Level. And then there's a bunch of other stuff we do on the High Level section part of it that I will get with you on once that's set up. And then Ralph is using the AI review responses, and he says that he's a fan of those. So.
All right. Any other questions? All right. So then we'll move on to probably the bigger and more exciting news, which is the convention has finally been finalized. We were just waiting for some commitments from our vendors that we use. Chevron has been very generous with their donation to help with the cost of the convention, which is great, because the more money that we can get from our vendors, then that'll help us suppress the price that the registration fee will be for the franchisees. We do have a convention agenda finally put up, and so most people will be arriving on Friday. I know Terry Sullivan said they're getting in on Thursday just to make extra sure. That's fine. We have a hotel block for the Friday night going into Saturday. If you do want to stay Saturday and then travel on Sunday, you will have to book a room separately. Brett is working on dealing with the hotel to see if we can keep the room block and or the price break that we got from the block itself. That will be to be determined. We're going to send out formal invitations to everybody shortly, both electronic and physical. And so that first day is really about just everyone getting in, having a happy hour and socializing in the conference room that we have reserved. And then day 2 is going to be a whole bunch of just talking to our vendors that have helped build up the system and having a keynote speaker, and then talking about the state of the industry. And then I'm going to do some awards for my corporate employees. It's pretty important for me to recognize them, because this is one of those things that some of my long-term employees, in the early days, I said, if you guys stick it out with me, one day we'll get to this point. And so hopefully some of the familiar faces that all of you have seen around Slack will be there, and you'll get to meet them in person if you hadn't already met them at a Discovery Day. And followed up by an award ceremony for the franchisees. And then we'll have a dinner together, and anyone who is flying out that day, that night, obviously we'll say our goodbyes, and that will be it for 2024. We'll have a whole year head start for 2025, but being our first one, I think honestly we've done. I've got to give both Brett and Brandon a lot of credit, Deb as well, just the whole everybody who's been working on this, including the vendors, for our first one without using a planner, an event planner. This has actually been pretty smooth, and everyone's working really hard on it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a really fun evening. So that is it for our town hall. We can do more Q&A. Happy to talk about any of the topics we've had on this call. Otherwise, I'll give you your time back, and we'll be seeing you. And on this, and if you want to ask any questions that you don't want to ask in front of everyone else, just shoot me a text on Slack. I will be available the remainder of today online. Awesome, guys. Brandon, Brett, do you have anything you want to add before we all hop off?
No, just super excited for 24 and really excited for 25. I'm excited to see everybody down in Florida and get to hang out and talk shop over there.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.